What is up? My name is Austin Marks and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So on my YouTube channel, I talk about respiratory therapy, I talk about respiratory therapy school, I talk about PA school a little bit, and I also talk about personal finance. So if any of that interests you, make sure you check out my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. So I am also the admin of a Facebook group called the RT Club. On this Facebook group, we talk about respiratory therapy, we talk about respiratory therapy school, and we just have a bunch of respiratory therapists, respiratory therapy students as well in that group, and they kind of all bounce ideas off each other. So if you want to be part of this community, make sure you head over to Facebook and join it. Once again, it's the RT Club. So anyway, in one of my past videos, I was doing an interview with a girl named Jolie, and we were kind of going over why she chose respiratory therapy, why she became a therapist. Well, anyway, she asked, well, why did you become a respiratory therapist? So that was kind of off scenes when we talked about that, but I did realize that I never told anyone why I became a respiratory therapist. I never shared that on my Instagram or even my YouTube channel, so that's what I'm going to do today. So like many of you looking at healthcare, you would probably think of nursing, because when anyone thinks of healthcare, they think of doctors and nurses, that's all there is, right? No, there are so many different people, so many different careers that come together and actually get the job done. And that was one thing I found out once I started actually looking at different careers rather than just nursing, because in high school, that's all I thought was nursing, right? So I joined the Army National Guard in high school. I went, did my basic training and all that, came back, and then I started off school. So I knew that I wanted to go into healthcare, and like I said, nursing was my main priority, but I started looking at different advisors, different career paths. I started talking to the different advisors, just kind of get a little bit of education on all these different careers, exactly what goes in each one, what does each one do, and all of them highly recommended that I shadow, and I highly recommend that all of you shadow as well. So that's exactly what I did. I shadowed a nurse as well as a respiratory therapist. Now, my school that I went to, they offered some other programs such as like a CT tech or ultrasound tech. However, that never really interested me too much. I wanted to stick more to like patient care and being a little bit more involved. Now, those people are very involved. They do a whole lot. That's a whole different topic. Well, anyway, I just shadowed respiratory and nursing. And then the main factor was when I was in the ICU with a respiratory therapist, and we were kind of looking at the patient, looking at the ventilator, and the patient just pooped everywhere, right? So then the respiratory therapist looks at me, he says, "You see this? We don't deal with this." So I went out, told the nurses what exactly happened. He said he could help if they needed us to, but they were like, "No, we got it." So then they went in, they cleaned all the poop, and we kind of went on to the next patient. And I can honestly say today, as a respiratory therapist, I've never wiped a butt. So that was one major thing as why I chose respiratory therapy, is I don't want to say I didn't have to deal with bodily fluids, because I do deal with a lot of bodily fluids. However, I don't have to deal with all the poop and pee, or if someone vomits, yes, I may help clean it up, especially if the vomiting is from me. However, if they come in from like an overdose or whatever reason and they're just puking everything up, then that's the nurse's job, not exactly mine. Like I said, I'm not afraid to help. However, like I also said, that's the nurse's job. Well, anyway, I still deal with like all secretions, and let me tell you, there are tons of people that say, "I don't know how you guys deal with it. I cannot deal with any of that gunk and boogers and all the other stuff that comes up out of the lungs. Like, I'd rather deal with poop any day of the week." And I mean, I guess that's just how it is. I guess you get used to it. But I don't want to deal with poop, so that's me. So I also shadowed the nurse, and the nurse was a floor nurse, so she had the same 4 patients the whole time. And she just kind of did what the patients wanted. She gave them meds, she gave them food, whatever. And then one thing that also inspired me to be a respiratory therapist is they work all over the hospital. So they are in the ICU, they are on the floors, they're in the ED, they work with the babies as well as adults within the same shift even. I just love the whole aspect of being a respiratory therapist over being a nurse, just from that one experience. Now, could I see myself being a nurse? Yes, I could. I hate to say that, but I do have a video that talks about what I would do if I wasn't a respiratory therapist, and nursing would be what I do. So I like to tell people that I didn't choose respiratory, that respiratory chose me. So just from shadowing and just kind of all the other stuff that I did, just respiratory was drawn to me and I was drawn to it. And I can honestly say that I love what I do, and I'm happy that I do it. Well, anyway, if you guys have any other questions about respiratory therapy, you can either leave it in the comments, you can check out any of my other videos. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.